across 3 days, across multiple halls. And for our next panel discussion, which is on the realm of how wider acceptance of digital payments is rewriting India's MSME growth story, we have a special video message by Shri Shailesh Kumar Singh, Additional Director and Development Commissioner, Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise, Government of India. So can we have that special video message being played on our screen, please?
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I congratulate the National Payments Corporation of India, Fintech Convergence Council, and Payment Council of India for collaboratively organizing the third edition of the Global Fintech Fest during 19th to 22nd September 2022 at the Geo World Center, Mumbai. I understand that it is one of the largest fintech events. As you all are aware, fintech is growing and has the potential to become the solution for several issues. Fintech is raising the bar for the transformation of the financial industry, be it digital banking or wealth management or capital markets. This growth was accelerated by the increased demand for digital financial services and e-commerce amid the pandemic. New areas of innovation have continued to emerge across the fintech sector, including payment facilitation with the help of various fintech models. With a view to provide digital solutions to MSMEs, the Government of India has taken various initiatives to provide digital experience to the MSME sector, such as Udyam registration for online registration of enterprises, for delayed payments, the MSME Samadhan portal, integration of Udyam portal with GEM, the government e-marketplace, TREADS, eShram, National Career Service, and the Skill India portal for providing G2C, B2C, and B2B services. In my opinion, disseminating knowledge is an important mechanism to catalyze higher usage of digital financial services. MSMEs require training in how best to leverage digital payments for business growth and expansion, and how to avail of benefits in terms of forward and backward linkages. The Ministry of MSME is mobilizing institutions at various levels and organizing targeted awareness campaigns and knowledge series in association with field offices and various state governments periodically. Fintech has the potential to contribute significantly in the country's growth, in which MSMEs can play a pivotal role. I wish all the best to all the participants of this global Fintech festival.
All right. Folks, that was a very promising and compelling message from Shri Shailesh Kumar Singh ji. Folks, acceptance of digital payments has seen unparalleled growth across all the demographics, and it has been among the top contributors to rewriting India's MSME growth story. This growing phenomena can be explained in depth through our next set of experts in the topic of how wider acceptance of digital payments is rewriting India's MSME growth story. This session will be moderated by Shri Abhishek Swarnkar, Incharge, Credit Card, National Payments Corporation of India, NPCI. And joining him on stage will be a set of speakers, beginning with Shri Pulkit Trivedi, Director Strategic Partnerships, GPAY. A big round of applause. And joining him on stage will be Mr. Shri Nitesh Ranjan, Executive Director, UBI. We'll also have Shri Ram Kewalramani, co-founder and COO Credable, and Shri Dinesh Pahadia, GM RIICO, joining us on stage. So over to all of you.
Yeah, so that's mine. A very warm welcome to all esteemed panelists. At Fintech and all Fintech enthusiasts in Global Fintech Fest 2022. We are gathered to discuss here how wider acceptance of digital payments is rewriting India's MSME growth story. India's digital story has gone a long way in a very short span of time. Digital payments has increased 160 times in last 2 decades. India ranks number 1 globally in real-time digital transactions, and today every 2 out of 5 transactions in India are digital. It is estimated that by 2026, every 2 out of 3 transactions will be digital. BCG PhonePe study shows India's digital payment market, which is around $3 billion, will triple by 2026. MSMEs are backbone of Indian economy. Approximately 64 million MSMEs are contributing to almost 30% of India's GDP, around 50% of total exports, and it is generating around 11.10 crore jobs. As the digital payment ecosystem continues to grow in the country, the businesses and individuals adopting this digital instruments such as unified payment services, Bharat QR wallet, etc., the MSME industries has also begun to walk the talk and digital payment initiatives. MSMEs have increasingly recognized the importance of adopting digital technologies to reduce inconvenience to their customers and suppliers. So taking this subject forward, we have an esteemed panel of distinguished guests. Let me start the discussion with Mr. Pulkit Trivedi, Director Strategy Partnership Google Pay. Pulkit, Google Pay is one of the largest players in UPI space, and the consumer behavior which we saw in the pandemic, it continues. More digital and less cash is continuing. Pulkit, if I can ask you here, what do you think how digital payment will transform the MSME at macro levels, and do you foresee any challenges?
Firstly, a warm welcome to everybody. I think what makes India different is what you see here in the corridors in this convention center. Like, I'm amused to see the energy of everybody here in the conference. And this is what especially makes India different as a country. The sheer energy, the sentiment, the mood is very, very upbeat. And now Abhishek, to your question, I think, look, MSMEs globally are very pivotal to the economic productivity, the social development, and the overall progress of each and every nation. And MSMEs actually drive 70% of the global employment. In OECD countries, they contribute to more than 50% of their GDP. And if you zoom into India, it is no different. The India retail industry is about $1 trillion, and guess what? 85% of that GMV of the $1 trillion is actually contributed by SMEs. So make no mistake, this is like a really, really large opportunity talking about. And if you really go back in history and time, unlike any other segment, actually digital payments was the first foray that digitization began to happen in the SME sector. They had no websites, they had no apps. In fact, digital payments was their very first foray or introduction into the fold of digitization. And this to me will be the building block of taking the digitization agenda of SMEs forward in a very, very big way. In many different ways, in ways that probably one could never have imagined. Things like how customer experience will be delivered by SMEs moving forward, how they will basically adopt more digitization into their business, whether it is supply chain management or customer relationship management, or the biggest opportunity of all, which is access to credit, which has been a big, big challenge in the many years. But if you speak about challenges, I think there are many challenges. There are incredible amount of challenges, but a few of them that stand out are that, look, I think the biggest challenge is about the awareness, about what digital payments could do, and the things around like what the micro and the small businesses always are in this unbelief mode where their perception about the transacting costs related to digital payments, not just UPI, I'm talking about payments as a whole, they believe that these digital payments are more expensive to them as a business and cash. And this is a myth that needs to be broken over a period of time. We as industry, we as the ecosystem players need to do much more in terms of building awareness on what digital payments, how they could benefit even micro businesses, the SME space.
Great. So in fact, so the vision of India making a 5 trillion economy, I believe MSMEs will definitely play a very, very pivotal role. So my next question is to Shri Nitesh Ranjan ji, ED Union Bank of India. So the prospect of MSME getting affordable access to finance are very bright due to continued governmental focus. Digitization of trade records like GST, and also schemes like Mudra and CGTMSC by SIDBI. So my question to you is, do you think digitization of payment will reshape and transform the digital lending landscape and will provide easy access to credit to MSMEs?
Yeah, thank you for inviting me here, first of all. Taking a thread from what Pulkit said, there is a huge contribution by MSMEs to the economy, including the GDP, exports, and the employment. But the fact also remains that MSMEs as such have their unique problems. So just look at the size of MSMEs. So estimates say that it's maybe 60 to 65 million units are there, of which almost 50% are into rural and urban markets. And I think every market has their unique problem for the MSMEs, leave aside the credit part. The good thing is that the formalization is happening gradually. So I think we used to hear that 10 to 12% is the formalization for formal sector credit for the MSMEs. But if we take Udyam registration data as a proxy, almost 10 million Udyam registrations has surpassed now. And if we then factor with the 60-65 million units, then from 10-12 we have now reached to close to 15% of formalization of credit for the MSMEs. Having said that, as I rightly said, that MSMEs have their own unique challenges. Now, if I look from the bank perspective, whether it is MSME or any other sector, for giving credit, a bank or lender has to do the credit underwriting, which is the risk underwriting. For the MSME, if a lender has to do the risk underwriting, the availability of data is very poor actually. And that is again by the nature of MSMEs, MSMEs are not like organized enterprise. So you have mom and pop shops, you have 2%, 5% enterprises across the country. There are more family members. They don't keep any formal account. There is a very small segment of MSMEs who actually keep very formal accounts. Otherwise, it's all what we call the kacha accounting. And any lender will not have faith on those kind of data. So that is one big problem. And in order to cover the risk of data not being available or rich data not being available, lender will require a collateral and security, which again is a problem with the MSMEs. So these two problems are genuine problems with the MSMEs. Now how the digital payments is addressing these issues. With the digital payments, and as Pulkit said, the adoption is actually increasing, and we have seen during the pandemic, in fact, the adoption of the digital payments by the MSMEs have been the highest across all sectors. So with the digital payments, we bankers and lenders will get more data of the enterprise. So we can, with the data, we can see what is the kind of sales, whether there is any seasonal pattern in the sales, whether there is any concentration into the sales with few data and this. So all these data will be very rich for the lenders to use for the underwriting. And I think that is what will be bringing a good solution for leveraging of digital payments data and other data for underwriting and lending to the MSMEs.
Thank you, sir. So they say data is the new oil. So, so the entire, there are a lot of developed economies which got developed because of oil. So now that fuel will be data in the coming scenario. So my next question is to Mr. Dinesh Pahadia, GM RIICO. Sir, in the digital transformation, government and various government agencies are playing a very, very crucial role. So I would like to ask, how government of Rajasthan and RIICO are laying special emphasis on promotions of MSME in the state.
Thank you, Mr. Abhishek, and thank you very much for inviting me forum. I would like to tell you that government of Rajasthan and RIICO are laying special emphasis for development of MSME. Number one, on 17 September, last Friday, government of Rajasthan has launched new MSME policy 2022. It shows that the government of Rajasthan is very keen and it's a focus on the MSME sector. Besides this, we have MSME Facilitation Act 2019. Under this act, all MSME just apply on the online portal and they will get the acknowledgement. There is no approval and no permission is required by MSME for the 3 years. So they are free from all kind of permission, approval, inspection under the state laws. So this shows the government of Rajasthan is very, very keen to promote the MSME sector. As far as the RIICO is concerned, we are now laying special emphasis for development of MSME in the RIICO industrial areas. And we are now carving out the plots of a smaller size, say 250 square meter, 500 square meter, 700 square meter, to promote and to MSME sector. Earlier, we used to have a larger size of plots, maybe 1000 square meter, 2000 square meter. Besides this, government of Rajasthan, under the new policy, that is the Rajasthan Investment Promotion Scheme 2019. Under this policy, special set of incentives available to MSME sector. That includes for water harvesting, for capital subsidy, investment subsidy, interest subsidy. These are the incentives we are providing to the MSME sector so that they can get a better deal in the state of Rajasthan. So in this way, government of Rajasthan and RIICO are laying special emphasis for development of MSME sector in the state of Rajasthan. As you may be aware that RIICO is also providing the term loan facility to the industries. And out of our total portfolio of 3,800 crore, most of the portfolio is to the MSME sector. So it's a very, RIICO and government of Rajasthan is very keen to promote the MSME sector in the state of Rajasthan. So this is the way we are promoting the MSME sector in the state of Rajasthan. And beside this, now RIICO is developing special industrial areas for MSME units also. And other industrial areas, we are also keeping some plot reserved for the MSME sector. So this is the way we are promoting the MSME sector in the state of Rajasthan.
Thank you, sir. In fact, I am from up north. I am from Gurgaon. And I've seen a lot of these industrial plots in Rajasthan, Bhiwadi and all that area.
Yeah.
So I would like to congratulate you. The kind of work Rajasthan government is doing in the space of MSME, it is truly commendable.
Yeah, thank you.
Ram, my next question to you. New age fintechs are giving boost to MSMEs. And the whole digital ecosystem is resulting in better cash flows and overall better margins. So if I can ask, if you can give you some insight, what are your views on the impact of digital payments in transformation of the supply side and the demand side for the MSMEs?
First of all, thank you so much for having a part of this panel. So today, if you really look at it, consumers or customers who render goods and services from MSMEs, their first mode of payment today is digital payments, right? Especially since COVID and how well UPI has done. That's evident in the last 3 years. Adoption of digital payments by MSMEs has, enabled them to actually access new avenues of growth. You take e-commerce platforms. So today, through e-commerce platforms, MSMEs can, grow and reach out to more customers, geographically, not only nationally but also internationally. And this is a big boost for their revenues as well as, for them being competitive in the market. What digital payments has also gone and done has enabled them to manage their business better, especially in the inventory management side. Because they have real-time transaction history, they can manage the inventories better, which again leads to efficiencies and profitability. And lastly, if you really look at it, what digital payments has gone and done it has enabled them to get access to formal credit, right? Especially for MSMEs who are, underserved or new to credit. For them to get access to credit is a big thing. Today you have, new age fintechs, NBFCs who've written credit models that are based around transaction history or cash flow based credit products. So this actually enables them to close the credit gap, which helps them to grow faster. Moreover, I think what MSMEs can now do because of a digital payment footprint is to avail more and more services, banking services such as insurance, forex, investment products. All of these things actually help MSMEs to grow faster, which in turn is actually helping the economy to grow faster.
Absolutely, Ram. In fact, at NPCI, National Payment Corporation of India, I can proudly say that we also have contributed to the digital transformation of the country. From UPI to Aadhaar-enabled services to FASTag, so the team has created, the NPCI has created an ecosystem which is helping MSME in general and the whole economy in particular for the growth. In terms of MSME, in NPCI, we have co-created a product called RuPay MSME card. We have co-created with Ministry of MSME. And I am more than happy to tell you here that Union Bank of India is a very strong partner in that product. So we are giving this card proposition to all the MSME entrepreneurs, which has very good benefits for the MSME entrepreneurs. So sir, if I can ask you the next question. Union Bank was established in the year 1919. And you have seen radical changes in how payments have transformed over the year. If you can, sir, please tell us how Union Bank is simplifying the overall banking experience of MSMEs and how significant is focus on digital payments for MSMEs?
Yeah, so actually Union Bank is not only simplifying for MSMEs, but Union Bank is simplifying for all classes of customers. And today we believe that digital data and analytics is actually going to drive and simplify the entire banking and lending experience. And that's how, as a vision, we have that over the next few years, over 50% of our retail loans and retail relationships should be driven by the digital channels only, which is presently hardly into high single digit. So if you look at what we are doing, I'll just share a few examples. One, from the perspective that how we are leveraging the data for lending to MSMEs, and secondly, that how we are actually enabling MSMEs to do more and more digital transactions. So on the first part, we had complete straight-through process for the business loans or the small borrower size. And when I say straight-through processing, it is like a customer, a prospective customer can from anywhere without visiting the branch of the bank, without talking to any employee of the bank, accesses the mobile app or goes to the website of the bank and punches in a few data points about himself or herself, and the entire thing gets verified and business rule engine runs. And if it meets the criteria set by the bank, the loan gets sanctioned. And not only that, immediately the amount gets disbursed into the account. So that's how we have done, and we have done almost 10,000 or more than that accounts under this straight-through process. Secondly, one bigger problem that we have solved using data is about the renewal process in MSME. So, as per the regulatory norms, every loan has to be renewed, reviewed every year. And it's a huge problem actually. And I'll tell you the extent of the problem that of all the MSMEs who bank with us, over 90% of them have limits up to 1 million INR. And these 90% of the customers, MSME customers, have to come to the branch every year, submit their documents, and to get the renewal process. And from the bank side, as well as the borrower side, it's a quite manual and time-taking process, loss of man hours from both sides and opportunities. So what we did is, using the data which is available through their account statement, cash flow, and the GST data, and we found that out of this pool of 1 million, up to 1 million limit MSMEs, almost 80-85% have these kind of rich data. So we use that data, analyze the data, and based on that we decided, our business rule engine runs and say that yes, this account is good for renewal, showing the turnover, cash flow, everything. And a message is sent to the customer that, okay, are you okay for this renewal digitally? Customer has to just put one click, and then it comes to the branch head, and branch head has to do the second click. So in a sense, it has simplified the process in such a way that what used to take many days now actually happening at a click of button. So these and many things we are doing now. And as I said about the business loan, right now it is for the small business loan. Now we are increasing the ticket size for that, which will also happen through a straight-through process. Secondly, on encouraging how MSMEs actually use digital payments. One you rightly said is about the MSME credit card, and we are very proud at Union Bank of India that we associated with NPCI and the MSME ministry to co-brand and launch this MSME card. And it's getting good traction today amongst the MSME borrowers. And what it also is helping, it's giving good data to us about the uses. Otherwise, some of the transactions for the MSME entrepreneurs like travel and all these things were not getting captured, which is now getting captured through the credit card. On top of that, it is actually a credit card. It's not a CC limit where for every time you use the limit, you have to pay the interest. So you have a 50 days grace period. So that is another added advantage to that. We have also been experimenting with a soft POS experiment. So taking the physical POS to your mobile being the POS machine. And that is a real problem across the nooks and corners of the country, because making available the physical POS as well as the servicing of that resolutions, it is a big problem. So right now we are testing with the soft POS, which is just an app in the mobile phone of the same MSME customers. And through that, any NFC enabled card, and today most of the cards are getting NFC enabled. NFC enabled card can actually that handset will actually work like the POS machine. So that is going to solve another problem. Then obviously we are pushing for the QR code adoption at the smaller level of MSMEs, including the street vendors. So these are the few initiatives we are taking using the data. Thank you.
Glad to hear, sir. A big bank like Union Bank of India, which is present across the country, and with the technology, it is bridging the gap between smaller cities and the metros. So very good to hear, sir. The technology is helping MSMEs, entrepreneurs, and generally people, Union Bank customers, and it is helping the entire economy. So very thank you, sir, for the statement.
I'll just add one point, which is very interesting in terms of adoption. So I said that the renewal for MSME, which we have launched for up to 1 million of loans, which is just a one click by the customer, which used to be several times visit of that customer to the branch. So when we are doing the pilot in, I think, eastern part of the country in Varanasi, one of the customer having around 1.2 million limit, he came to us and he told us that you please reduce my limit to 1 million so that I am also covered into this and I have to just give one click for renewal rather than coming to your branch several times for this process. So that is the adoption for the digital actually.
That's very awesome, sir. So taking the discussion forward, in the digital revolution, banks and fintechs, they are working side by side to creating this revolution. So my next question is to Pulkit. Pulkit, as of 2022, Google Pay or GPAY is present in around 46 countries. It's a truly global organization. So if you can tell us here how GPAY is doing in the space of MSME and how are you helping MSME in this digital journey?
Sure. So many of you may not know, but unlike what we think of American tech companies, let me share that we are very proud that we built a bespoke product on the UPI rail called Tez and launched it in 2017. And we are incredibly proud of the partnership that we built with NPCI, banking partners and fintechs to very humbly be a part of this incredible growth story that we've seen. Having said that, I think some of the things that we did at Google Pay was that we tried to take a very localized approach for India. And having said that, we launched Google Pay in 8 languages. Recently, we added something called Hinglish, which most of us use in our day-to-day lingo. And this is also in line with what Google India is trying to do in India in terms of driving internet adoption and also making sure that while this adoption around the internet is, while more users are coming on board the internet, they have meaningful ways to engage with the internet. Because beyond the 350 million people in India, the next slew of hundreds of millions of users don't understand English. So how do you not just make content that is available in their vernacular language, but also make the interface with the smartphone easy? Things like speech to text. And we are bringing some of that goodness even to Google Pay. So last year we launched in partnership with you where somebody could just enter their phone number while talking to the phone, validate it, and make the payment happen. Having said that, I think we truly believe that this actually is a flywheel between consumer adoption and how SME embrace digital adoption. So on one hand, you have to build trust, you have to drive simplicity of usage for users, who in turn will drive the demand side for SMBs to make sure that they are actually providing or adopting digital payments where consumers can come and pay to their. Not only this, at Google India, we created a $10 billion India digitization fund, which is meant to drive the next level of the digitization agenda, including in the payment space in India. One of the other things that we did in the pandemic, which was incredibly useful, was that we launched something called a nearby feature, where on Google Pay app, you could actually look for the nearest store while you were in your house. You could see whether the store is actually maintaining pandemic protocols, safety protocols. You could see whether they are open or closed, and you could even call them. So it was kind of trying to build a quasi-commerce experience. And we are incredibly proud that we were the pioneers in terms of launching what we call the video KYC back in 2019 when we launched the Google for Merchant app for millions of consumers in India. So I think we truly believe that this agenda of driving the next phase, not just driving digital adoptions agenda, but the next stage of digitization in the SMEs is going to be a partnership effort between fintechs, technology players like us, banking partners, and the government. And you, of course, Abhishek, you are the center of driving this whole agenda. So many congratulations.
Thank you. So in fact, so the entire ecosystem, breaking the language barrier, bringing the digital ecosystem, digital revolution from India to Bharat, I think that is going to change how we see how we are doing digital payments right now in the country. So for the next question, Ram, I would like to ask you, Credable is one of the largest working capital tech platform, and currently it has disbursed around 5 billion working capital annually. If you can please throw some light on innovations that your organization has done at Credable for MSME sector.
Right. So, currently we are disbursing about 5 billion in working capital to about 200,000 borrowers, of which about 80% would be the MSME sector. What we've gone and done is we built a platform, a growth app for MSMEs that essentially allows us to provide 3 pillars of growth for MSMEs. The first pillar would be cash management and business intelligence tools, where SMEs can use the app to e-invoice, to collect payments, to make payments, to check their balance sheet in real time, and also have a predictive cash flow tool over there so that they can actually manage their business better. The second pillar is embedded finance. Here, what essentially MSMEs can do within a click of a button is avail a plethora of banking products such as credit, insurance, forex, investment products, so that they're enabled to grow efficiently, right? And they're no longer needed to go to a physical bank and go through the entire tedious process of availing these products. The third pillar to upscale is essentially trade enablement. Because the platform is connected to, like I said, about hundreds and thousands of small businesses as well as large enterprises, today SMEs can use the platform to actually trade within each other. All this is enabled for the MSME to actually grow efficiently. And that's where we are seeing the maximum traction and the need of the hour, especially for the MSME sector.
Great. In fact, so when I see, in fact, in this panel also, so we have Sir from Union Bank of India, which is there for almost 100 of years, serving MSME and the country in digital payments and overall banking. We have Ram and we have Pulkit in the new age economy, and we have Dinesh sir, who is helping Rajasthan government in building an infrastructure for MSMEs. So Dinesh sir, I have one question for you. RIICO has played a very important role in the industrial development of Rajasthan. I would like to understand how Rajasthan government is leveraging fintech for promotion of industries in general and MSMEs in particular.
Thank you. I would like to inform you that Rajasthan government is nowadays emphasizing on the development of digital and IT. Rajasthan government has set up one of the largest and best state data center in the state of Rajasthan. And most of the state government websites and data is available on the state data center. And it is one of the modern state data center. Second, Rajasthan government has launched a portal, single sign-on, SSO. So every citizen can log in on that as SSO and can avail the services under all state government services, whether it's a RIICO, whether it's a UDH, whether it's a JDA, any department, any state government department, they can avail the services through this SSO login. Besides this, government of Rajasthan has so many e-mitras. These e-mitras are located in the city as well as in rural areas. Any citizen can go there and avail the state government services, whether it's the payment of the water, whether it's the payment of the electricity, whether he want to take the land records, any services which is in the domain of the government for the citizens. Besides this, as far as RIICO is concerned, RIICO has taken a digital payment system. RIICO, nowadays allot the plot through e-auction system. And in the e-auction system, in 2019 and 20, RIICO allotted only 1,200 plots. But during this COVID, 2020 and 2021 and 2021-22, in 2020 and 2021, RIICO allotted more than 2,800 plots. And in 21-22, we have allotted more than 2,600 plots. It happened because RIICO adopted the technology. In e-auction, anybody can apply for the land from anywhere in the world. And we accept the digital payment. We have a 3 payment gateway, one HDFC Bank, one ICICI and SBI Bank. These 3 payment gateways we have availed, and anybody from anywhere can apply for the land allotment. He can make the payment through these 3 payment gateways. And beside this, we are also provided the site plan of the plot, 360-degree view of the plot, then the Google image of the plot. Everything is available on the website. So any entrepreneurs who is interested to buy a land in RIICO industrial areas, there is no need to physically interact with any officer of the RIICO. He can go to the RIICO website, RIICO ERP system. He can see the plot. He can see the Google image of the plot. He can see the 360-degree image of the plot. He can see the site plan. He make the payment through digital only. And he can allot, RIICO after a bidding system, allot the plot. So this is the way how RIICO and government of Rajasthan is laying special emphasis for the digital payment and fintech activities. And RIICO is also nowadays providing the term loan activities through online. So anybody is interested to avail the term loan, he can apply online, and RIICO system will sanction the loan through the online systems. So this is the way how the RIICO is adopting the technology, adopting the fintech.
Thank you so much, sir,
Yeah.
for that wonderful insight.
Yeah.
So with the permission of panel members, can we take a couple of questions maybe? So if anyone has any questions for the discussion or anything which is related to digital payments or MSMEs, you can ask the questions. Yeah, sure. If you can, Mike.
Hi, I'm Devdut. I work for Axion, which is a financial inclusion company. My question was related to the whole language barrier that we were talking about. I think Google Pay and the rest of the apps are doing great. UPI is doing great. But we still see a large gap in the way people in the rural areas or even elderly people in urban areas are able to use this system. So what is your view on how can we accelerate this gap as soon as possible?
And your question is to which panel member?
It's an open question.
Open
So
question.
yeah.
So
let me take that, Abhishek.
sure.
So look, sorry, I forgot your name.
Devdut, I'm from
Devdut,
Axion.
nice to meet you. This is one of the hard problems that needs to be solved, and I can assure you that Google is committed to solving this language barrier, and it's not just about making Google Pay easy. It's the journey where you have to make the interface with the device in a way that the user is comfortable interacting with. and that thing has to basically break the language barrier where you are making you move away from, let's say, an English keypad, as I said, to speech, to text form. I can tell you a dominant change in behavior that we are seeing on Google search is we are seeing an increasing growth on voice-based queries on Google search. Now that's a very big leap in terms of breaking that language barrier. You don't need to type. The other thing that you need to do, therefore, is when somebody interacts with that device, how do you show content in the language that they understand? And today, if you really see, 75% of India's mobile internet traffic is actually video, and video has actually is at the forefront of solving language. Now we are taking some of these learnings and bringing it to an experience that we are building for payments, and we have to make the whole interface and the experience very, very immersive. And as our mission statement, if you really read the Google Pay mission statement for India, our mission is to make payments simple, reliable, and fast for users. And simplicity is where the whole engineering prowess of Google is dedicated to make that whole interface of using Google payments very, very simple across age barriers, social barriers, demographic barriers, including how people use in India. So this is a journey. This will get solved over the years. As I said, one of the leaps that we made was you just, pronounce your bank account number, and that gets entered onto the Google Pay app, and you can make the payment. Now, these are some of the simple measures that we are taking to solve for some of these barriers.
Great.
Anybody else?
So any other question? Sure. So please keep your questions brief and let me know to whom you are asking the questions.
My question is for, it's an open question,
Sure.
but it's specifically about the credit crunch that MSMEs face. I understand that you're talking about digital payments, how it will support the MSMEs, but particularly during the phase of, say, a pandemic or demonetization, the worst hit tends to be the MSME segment. So what kind of data, you've spoken about embedded credit, etc., but how do you see the MSME sector becoming more capable of demanding credit from the lending sector? How do you see that trajectory happening?
So one thing is that definitely, as I said in my opening question also, that there is a greater formalization of MSME happening, and that is driven by the government efforts, regulatory efforts, and the entire ecosystem of the lending players. And that's how from 10 to 11% of MSMEs getting access to formal credit. Today, as I said, if I take Udyam registration data as a proxy, it could be over 15% of MSMEs are getting access to formal credit. Now, if I ask in this room, and if you can raise your hand, 2 years ago, how many of you could have thought that MSME will actually choose the lender? I want lender A, lender B or C, unlike going to a particular lender and struggling that. I don't think anybody could have thought of that. Today, actually, we are entering into that era. So, and somehow we are not giving heed to what government has done for us. So apart from Aadhaar, which has been very revolutionary, the three other important part of the Digital India stack, the UPI driven by the NPCI, account aggregator framework, which is bringing the data in a trustworthy manner, in a scalable manner, and the OCEN framework, which is actually bringing the loan service providers and the lenders together. I think this troika of UPI, account aggregator, and OCEN framework, this is actually going to democratize the lending to the MSMEs. And as I said, MSMEs will have a choice of selecting a particular lender, and we are not far from there. There are pilots going on right now on the GEM Sahai using the OCEN framework, and right now we are working on the similar kind of product for the GST Sahai, where the lenders will take the GST data and send the offer to the MSME, and MSME will choose, yes, I want bank A because of this interest rate and these services. So I think we are transitioning towards that, And the transition is happening very fast. I think next couple of years, we'll see many use cases of this, and that will help us increase the formalization of MSMEs very faster way.
Great.
Yeah,
So,
just to add to that,
sure.
I think there are two other things, right? So if you look at 4 or 5 years ago, a lot of the banking services were analog in nature. And I think with the advent of the rise of fintechs, bringing technology in, and the partnership between banks and fintechs, I think that's only going to increase and improve the credit disbursement to the MSME sector.
Sure. So we have limited time, so we will again come to Q&A in case time permits. The closing remarks and the last question to the eminent panelist. Let me start with Ram. So, what do you envisage Indian MSME journey in next 5 years through the lens of digital payments?
So, like I said, I think with the partnership between fintechs and banks, MSMEs are, obviously going to get access to credit, which I think is one of the most critical aspects for the growth in the MSME sector. Because today, if you look at it, 63 million MSMEs are there. Less than 15% have access to formal credit. The credit gap is more than 350 billion. So it's a huge number, right? And I think what's going to play a massive part is going to be the rise of embedded finance, right? Now, embedded finance or banking as a service is essentially, non-banking companies providing financial services at the point of sale, right? So if you look at in the US, you have companies like Spotify, or you have, Grab in Southeast Asia, which is a ride-hailing firm. They have been pioneers of providing embedded credit to their customers. And if you look at it today, more than 50% of the revenues is actually coming from embedded finance. And so if you look at it, 5 years hence, you're looking at MSMEs within a click of a button getting access to credit, insurance, Forex, and whatever else that banks sell within a few clicks. And I think that's going to be a game changer. So I think, embedded finance / banking as a service is the future. And none of it is actually possible without, the adoption of digital payments.
Nitesh, the same question. How do you foresee as in the future of digital payments for MSMEs and general in next 5 years?
So see, digital payments itself is increasing from low double digit today. 75% of the all transaction for the MSMEs is happening through the digital, and 25 around is through the cash, and it's going to leapfrog. So I don't have any number for the MSMEs, but if I take a proxy again, and if I use the BCG data, they said from 2018 to 2021, the number of transactions per savings bank account for individuals has increased 2x, And the prediction is from 2021 to 26, that in the next 5 years, the number of transactions in the savings account will increase 8x. So from around 70 today, it's going to be close to 600 transactions per account, which means that similar kind of reflection will happen with an MSME. You can just imagine the richness of data. So what this digital payment and the data will do, one, I said that MSMEs will choose the lender. And second, as a lender and what we are doing in the MSME space today, I can visualize that the small borrower accounts, let's say 20 million or 50 million, or simplicity, let's say 20 million, which is again guaranteed by the government agencies. My belief is that in the coming years, now it is whether it is 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, that time will tell. But very soon, small borrower accounts, for that MSME will need not come to the bank branches. It will happen at their place of work, at their enterprise, at their home, and with the minimum possible time. That's what I can visualize. And this is the space, let's say even if we assume 20 million of limit, this is the limit which will actually cover huge population of the MSME in the country.
So speed and pace is going to be very important in coming 5 years. So my last question, sir, Dinesh, sir. So what do you think digital payment future in Rajasthan per se and overall? So what are your views on digital payment for MSMEs, which is for next year in Rajasthan and overall?
Yeah, thank you. Government of Rajasthan decided to set up industrial areas at every subdivisions. So in the next 1 year, we are going to set up 147 industrial areas across the state. And most of these industrial areas will be for the MSME sector. RIICO so far has developed 390 industrial areas. And now to promote the fintech sector in the state of Rajasthan, so far RIICO has already promoted agro, IT, and gems and jewelry, textiles. But now we have realized that this fintech is another sunrising sector. And to promote this industry and to attract investment in the state of Rajasthan in fintech sector, RIICO is developing a fintech park at Jaipur. This park is very near to Jaipur International Airport. And the size of the park is 95 acres of land. But we will be promoting the verticals. And so far we have already planned about 36 plots ranging from 1200 square meter to 18,000 square meter. And some of the plots we are keeping reserved for the MSME sector so that they can set up their digital payment system or they can set up their back office or KPO. We are also inviting investment from the banks also for the digital payment, transaction, credit payment, blockchain, so many other activities involved in the fintech sector. And you know, RIICO is already, sanctioned 230 crore rupees for development of this fintech park. We will be developing the approach road, internal roads, sewerage, water harvesting system, smart power system, smart water supply system. So the focus is on fintech sector in the state of Rajasthan, and RIICO is committed to develop this fintech park and to attract the fintech companies in this fintech park. And the studies, the location of this park is very strategic. It is very, very near to Jaipur International Airport. It is hardly 1 kilometer away from the Jaipur International Airport. So my request with the audience and the CEOs and companies present in the hall, I would request if anybody, any company is looking for their new operations or expansion of their activities in the fintech sector, I think this fintech park Jaipur would be an ideal location for them. And I am sure that this will be one of the largest and first fintech park in the North India.
Great, sir. So for this amazing discussion we had, the last question I would like to ask from Pulkit. Pulkit, again the same question. Where do you envisage the Indian MSME journey through the lens of digital payments in the next 5 to 10 years?
So Abhishek, as I said, this is a flywheel between consumers and SMEs. And I believe that we do about 200 million transactions a day on UPI. I'm very confident that this number will be a 2 billion number per day. And this in turn will enable MSMEs to be more agile in terms of one, serving their customers. We are the digital payments apps or surfaces. In my view, I think a dominant portion of that growth is going to be driven by MSMEs, number one. Number two, I think, as everybody has spoken, I won't dwell more into it, but credit is a big interplay where digital payments can actually be the rail that can solve the credit problem in India. I also believe that there are 2 or 3 very important factors that we should remember which will make MSMEs more agile. And when you think about this, payments and commerce are actually now converging. So you see a lot of commerce companies globally getting into the payments domain and vice versa. And China is a great example of this. I believe that digital payments is the first point of entry which will enable MSMEs to compete in this whole online commerce space very, very effectively in the next few years as we build on this platform together.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So it's a wrap. Thank you so much, my eminent panelist. And this was indeed a very fruitful discussion. And also I would like to thank the audience for being patient. So thank you so much for such enthusiasm. And with that, I would like to end the panel discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Abhishek.